Welcome to the Bourbon Talk Show, the ABV Network's original YouTube series where we interview some of the most interesting people from the world of bourbon. Today on the show, we'll be talking to Royce Neeley of Neeley Family Distillery in Sparta, Kentucky, and Brad Bonds of Revival Vintage Spirits in Covington, Kentucky. My name is McNew. Please join me in welcoming our host for the evening, Steve Akley.
Hello. Thank you, gang. Thank you. Appreciate that. We've got a couple of great guests today, and Royce Neeley and Brad Bonds should be a fun one. These guys are they're close in the world. They're kind of up in the same part. If you're going to the Bourbon Trail or hitting Bourbon Country, these are two places that you might hit on the same day, that type of thing. So that's why we put them on the show together. I think it's pretty cool. So we'll talk to them in just a moment. McNew and I always like to kick off the show with 3 stories that are going on from the world of bourbon. And the first one, McNew, this is interesting. Woodford Reserve just celebrated its 25th anniversary by rolling out plans for a $110 million expansion that will increase their capacity over the next 5 years from 1 million cases per year to 2.5 million. So up 2.5 times. That's crazy, right?
That's insane. That is.
And if you think, where are they going to get that growth from? Because they're kind of already everywhere. It's not like Woodford can be like, okay, we need to now focus and get into bars. No, they're in every bar already. Yeah,
it's not hard to find. You can walk in a grocery store and buy Woodford literally anywhere.
Woodford's a grocery store, which you and I like to use that as a common thing.
It's not an insult by any means. I love grocery store bourbon.
Grocery store ones are just very easy to find, and Woodford's one of those already. So
yeah,
another 1.5 million cases on top of the huge number they're already throwing out there is wild to think about.
Insane.
Yeah, for us, about the only difference we'll see on the tour is, they've got the 3 huge pot stills, which I say is one of the greatest photos in bourbon. It's really an Instagram moment. Now they're going to have 6. They'll have 3 on each side, so there'll be 6. So that's going to be a pretty cool thing. So yeah, it's interesting for sure. A lot of that goes behind the scenes. That $110 million. They're going to be upgrading Shively too. That makes a lot of Woodford. They do the pot distillation there, but really that's just a small part of Woodford. They'll upgrade a lot to get that done. The next one, this one is interesting to me. I don't know. I kind of like the idea because I'm a huge fan of Goose Island, and they are coming out with ready to drink cocktails, and they partnered with MGP. They're using their whiskey, and they've got 3 that they're come out of the gate with: Blackberry Smash, Highball, and Whiskey Sour. So what do you think of that, McNew?
I don't hate it. Like I actually like some canned cocktails. There's a local one in Indy. They have one called Old Hammer, and they do it's like a whiskey and ginger and like a whiskey and cola. Those are surprisingly good. And I mean, Goose Island has great products if you like beer, and MGP is always decent. I think this is a good collaboration.
Okay. I think you can't go wrong with MGP. No slam against them. And by the way, they changed their name or something. We're not going to acknowledge that. On this show, they're MGP. They're not Ross and Squib. That's never going to happen. And when I go to Chicago, I still go to the Sears Tower. I'm never going to Willis Tower in my life. I get in the Uber and I say I'm going to Sears Tower. And they all know. It's not like
they all know.
What are you talking? There's no Sears Tower. So yes, I'm still calling it MGP. That is just, we're not changing. So
no.
I thought, here's what I thought, McNew. The only thing I think it might be a swing and a miss here. And again, I'm not a ready to drink cocktails guy. I'm sorry. I never feel like the carbonation's there. Like if I make a Beam and Coke, there's carbonation still in there. The cans, I don't get that. It tastes flat to me when I'm drinking it, so I don't like them. But these could have it. I don't know. Again, I like Goose Island, but it feels like they've got more partnerships than anybody in the bourbon world. Beer companies.
They're all over the place.
Why isn't it like Old Forester's Blackberry Smash? They're using some of these relationships that they've garnered, and have this one's the Jim Beam, and I guess maybe they figured the bourbon companies want to do it themselves, so they just do the MGP.
Yeah,
but I just feel like it could have been
kind of already did their own cocktails or canned stuff.
It's still different though. Yeah. It's because it's a seltzer versus this is different.
I don't know. I want that Blackberry Smash. So that sounds like a good summer drink.
All right. Put McNew down for that. All right. This next one is breaking news here. Neeley Family Distillery is going to be offering a new product, a 4-year-old brandy they will be offering soon. Royce Neeley's probably going to kill me for telling that, but it's a gift shop thing, and I think it's cool. And yes, I just scooped Royce Neeley on himself, and I'll never hear anything else from this point forward. That's all I know. I don't have any further details on that. Royce, anything else you could supplement that knowledge there?
I just was checking the cola for that before I got on here, and the TQB just kicked it back to me. So I had to make some changes and resubmit it, but it's pretty close to me.
Got rejected. Okay.
Brandy's good though. Yeah. Tony Manchella, I distilled that like, I guess, a little bit over 4 years ago, and Tony was testing through some of our stuff and found those barrels. So it's ready to go. So
that's cool.
Sell it.
Yeah. The Legend's coming up this weekend. He wants a bottle of it, and with no labels fine. He said.
I'm gonna bring some Sharpies, and you can make a painted label on there.
I'll draw it for you. Yeah.
See if you can draw one.
I can draw it TTB compliant, by the way. That's how good. So there you go. Exciting stuff. And that is what's happening in the world of bourbon right now. All right. It is time now to talk to our guest. Our first guest is the guy I talk to on average about 2.7 times per day. I'm not even kidding. It's out of control. That's, some days it's 6 or 7 times. So, that means there might not be no times other days, but he's definitely one of my best friends in the business. The first guest to appear on this program 2 times is Royce Neeley, which is kind of cool. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our special guest today, Mr. Royce Neeley. Hello. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man.
That's good. That's good. I've got 2 things. I've got this first question here. And then I got a Christmas gift I want you to get me. So the first one is you played baseball growing up all the way through college, even, which is really pretty cool. But there always has to be one game that stands out. What and explain to us what happened in your single best game in your entire baseball career. This could be all the way back to when you were a little kid. Maybe you hit 6 home runs in a game or something crazy, or you were a pitcher. Maybe you pitched a perfect game when you were 10 years old, and that was your whatever it is, man. What was the highlight of your baseball career?
So I was thinking about this. So I threw a one-hitter once my senior year of high school, and it was almost a perfect game to the very end of it. I ended up giving up the hit and everything in the last inning. But I tell you, probably one of my best memories. So growing up, when I got to middle school, when we were playing baseball and everything, some of the guys that had started playing earlier than me, they were always better than me up to that point. And I'll never forget, there was a game, my dad was coaching at the time, and I got to pitch in it. And I struck out this guy that, at the time that, like I said, they'd always been better than me in basketball and baseball. And I struck him out. And the next day at school, the look on his face the entire day was priceless. And I don't think I ever really looked back after that. So.
Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah. David finally beat Goliath. So that's a cool thing for sure. So yeah, congrats on that. Yeah. So the other thing, the part 2 of this thing is a Christmas gift. And there's something that you got to give me for Christmas. And because I just learned this recently, at the county fair, your mom used to enter you in the Little Prince contest for the best looking boy at the county fair. And you won one year. I got to get a photo. And I know your mom has a photo of this because she's too mommy not to have a photo of the year you won the Little Prince. I need that.
There's photos of it. You're never going to see one photo. You're never going to see it.
If I could get that
I'll give you a photo of that. Yeah, I'll bring a photo of that to your intervention. How about that?
The whole intervention.
Maybe I'll get to set into it.
Yeah. Yeah. The intervention thing's out of control because there was apparently it's an early idea of an intervention for me when COVID started because I was killing a bunch of bottles. So the warden thinks that I have a problem because all of a sudden she'd look out in the kitchen, there'd be 6 dead bottles. And then the next day there'd be 8 dead bottles. Well, I'm not drinking 8 bottles of bourbon in a day. Trust me. No one could do that. But, she thought there might be a problem here. And I was out drinking 8 o'clock in the morning with the duck and all that crazy stuff. And she decides might have to give me an intervention here. And I said, well, how far did this go? And she's like, well, I started planning it and who I'd invite and all that. I'm like, okay, who's on the list? And she's like, well, like Royce and Becca. Royce and Becca, that's the worst 2 you could ever invite. They're drunks. So, yeah. So,
the intervention.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Yeah. Luckily it didn't happen, but this has been a big laugh ever since of what would have happened. And I said, if it ever comes to that, Royce and Becca, they're not invited. They don't get to come to that. Neither does the Legend or McNew. Imagine McNew. Dear Steve, you're drinking.
Steve, I'm very supportive of whatever you want to do. I don't know why I'm here.
The Robinsons could be there. They'd be fine. I would listen to them. You can't yell at the Robinsons, but yeah. some of these would be ridiculous. Here's
I would
McNew
be
to
like,
read her
Steve, when
letter
you're
to
done
you.
with this, we can have a party to celebrate your sobriety. We'll
Yeah.
have shots. It'll be great. I'm not the one. Don't bring me to those.
McNew would be like, remember that time I fell off the chair drunk? I felt like you were drunk that day too. That'd be like her letter to me, how she's concerned about my drinking. Like, no, that's not how it works now.
You
All
threw
right.
up and touched it. Disgusting.
So let's start with a couple of industry questions here. So the new Kentucky bourbon logo. So the KDA has this. It's to promote the fact, like California grapes, or some other things like that. Maine lobsters. They're trying to make state pride in the what is their product. And you can get grapes from or raisins from other places and that, but they're trying to say we're like the industry standard. You might get it someplace else, but Kentucky is it. Number one, two questions about that, Royce. First of all, do you like that idea? And then the second one is that if you do like it, is it gonna appear on your bottles?
Well, all right. So one, do I like the idea? I mean, like you said, you can get grapes other places. You can get great bourbon outside the state of Kentucky as well. We all know that.
Right.
I do think it's good for Kentucky and good for the industry. And obviously I'm in the industry and from Kentucky, so I support it. I think it's good to have, a concise, logo and kind of a brand identity for the state pertaining to that. So I think it's a good thing. Will you see it on my bottles? No, you won't see it on my bottles. I mean, we'll probably have some of the same stuff we have for like the bourbon show and everything inside of our, the distillery and stuff like that. And I'm a member of the KDA. But no, I don't think you're going to see it on the bottles.
Yeah. You have the potential to hang it. I'm sure they'll do some signage and stuff like that. You can hang that stuff in the distillery.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and it's great. People obviously they look for all of that, and the new. If you guys haven't seen the new, what do you call it? The passport. The new passport's unreal. Field guide they call it now. Yeah, they combined both the large trail and the craft one together. They're adding points of interest and maps, and I mean it's great. So I think that everything they're doing is only helping to grow bourbon all the way around.
Yeah. Next year they'll come out with a new passport, and it'll have points you can get for doing certain things, like taking a selfie with Miss Becca Sue. I'll be like, what the hell? Wait a second here.
You get the cease and desist.
Right. Exactly. We'll see. All right. The KDA is also working on something else is really cool. Now, whether or not they'll be successful, you never know until these things actually happen, but they're trying to get rid of the barrel aging tax. You guys have to pay tax on barrels in your warehouse. And how big of a difference would that make in your business, Royce, if that would happen?
I mean, realistically, taxes at this point are more punishment than they are anything. I think we can all pretty much agree on that. I don't necessarily know they really go to the greater good more than they do just are set there to hurt you and take you back some. And that barrel aging tax, it hurts the playing field for us in comparison to other distilleries across the United States that don't have to deal with it, or even across the world. It doesn't account for a whole lot from the state level, but you get hit pretty hard at the local level. So it falls right in just like a tangible tax that you pay to the school and everything like that. So it counts for, it could easily account to 15 or 20 grand pretty easily. So it'd be nice not to pay that. Yeah. KDA has been pretty successful in a lot of the things that they've done here in Kentucky. So, I can go for the last 5 years. I honestly think they've killed it on a lot of things, and being really the voice that helped to push through and get I've been working all day. The excise tax, federal excise tax reduced from $13.50 down to $2.70, which was a huge reduction there.
Right.
And I told you at that point, Akley, I really can't complain about anything else. I mean, that really helps a lot, and to me levels up the playing field between the larger distilleries to the craft ones. I'm good as can be. If they can reduce another tax, then great. The way I look at it with taxes pertaining to things like that with bourbon in Kentucky, you reduce the taxes you take from me, I'm just going to spend it on stuff that's related to the industry anyways. So I'm going to hire more people, so you're going to get taxes off of them, or I'm going to buy this, so you're going to get sales taxes off of that, or they're going to get it one way or the other anyway. So to me, I think it's more advantageous, and I think is the direction the KDA is going, is the reduction of the tax permanently, and it's like a credit. So as long as you're growing and building, as long as you can show.
Yeah. His internet.
I don't think there's
McNew, here's where you have to do your comedy routine. Technical difficulties. So McNew's been working on a new routine. Go ahead, McNew.
I don't have a routine, but I made this letter board the other day that I thought was funny. What to ghost drink? Bourbon. Bourbon.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce it, to be honest, but I thought it was funny the other day.
That's pretty good. Yeah. So there you go. I don't know what Rick's doing there. It's just he's falling into his tree there. He's turned the other way, and now he's disappearing into his tree.
I think he's picking coconuts.
Yeah, he might be.
I'm like, is Rick peeing on this tree? Because I hope not. He's not in a bathroom. You know that.
Floating away with the tide.
Is he peeing on the tree?
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He might have been on a phone call. Who knows?
He could have been. He was just being polite. So yes, well, I guess we'll get Royce back very soon here. What else, McNew? You're working on. You got a new job, and you're excited about that, I guess, right?
Yeah, I actually like this one for now. It's been a week, so
it's been a week, and so far so good.
Yeah.
All right, here comes Royce.
All right, Akley, can you hear me now?
That's way better. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Now I'm over here, so this piece of shit thing, I guess, ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
So here I am.
Yeah, you sound good there. So just be on that. Now you're on the other one too. So that could be a problem. Sound wise, I would just, there you go. Just stick on the one. Perfect. All right.
Sorry, I don't know what you guys heard of what I was saying there. I was rambling on what I thought was a pretty good response to that, but where did I freeze up at?
Just basically talking about, that you're going to be high. Any that you save in tax, you're just going to reinvest in the business, which means they'll get, tax revenue off that, which makes sense. I mean,
and I think the direction that the KDA is going with it, don't quote me on this, I don't know it for sure, but this is what I've heard through the grapevine, is that the tax reduction is it's still based on growth. So it's more like a tax credit. As long as you're growing in the industry or, hiring new people or doing this, if you can show that you're spending the money, then you get the credit to take off the tax. If you become a stagnant company, then you owe the tax on it, which I don't think is wrong, because I think it incentivizes you to grow. I think that's the way you should use taxes.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. That sounds like a good program. So yeah, if they're getting creative like that, you can behind that. So that's cool. Here's the funny thing about you and I, and in reality, as I talked about, we talk on the phone all the time, and we're definitely buddies, but I think we truly owe that to Dick Stoll. He's done so much for us, but our friendship is really because of him. And I think, I would continue to know you, and I'd probably report on you. And I, when I did the Bourbon Talk Show, you're a distiller. I want to talk to all distillers at some point on the show. I'd probably reach out, but the fact that you and I decided to, go meet Dick Stoll meant we'd been 8 hours in the car one way and 8 hours coming back. So like 16 hours in 2 days. That's when we really got talking and really realized we had all this stuff coming. I mean, it's all because of him, right?
It's very true. I don't think we would have definitely wouldn't hit it off as quick, or maybe not even, like you said, hit it off at all if it wasn't for that trip we took together. So it was a really good time. Yeah,
you might. I mean, like I said, you'd be a guy that I know in the industry, but I know a lot of people in the industry, and I consider them all friends to some degree. But yeah, that just made we had so many laughs on that. In that town, trying to find shoe fly pie and all this stupid stuff we were doing.
I think we bonded over the love of history as well.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. I mean, we learned a lot from that trip, and there was obviously things about the production and procedure, but a lot of that trip was still about the history, history as well. And I think we talked whiskey the entire way up there, and then talked it the whole way back.
Yeah.
We drank. We drank Jim Wolf's bottle in the hotel room, and
we did. we did. We got to drink it a little bit. Yeah. They leave us alone with whiskey. What are you going to do? So yeah.
Pretty sure we prank called Becca as well. That might have actually been the first. That might have been the first time I actually spoke to Becca off the shows.
That could be the start of the relationship, really. I mean, yeah. I mean, you've done some shows together, but nothing on an informal basis like that, calling her. So I forgot about that. Yeah. And you breached the guy code on that trip. So I don't, that's why I don't travel with you anymore.
Thought you were trying to party, man. I didn't know what you were about.
That's just a stupid story, but I don't know if we should do that one here.
Probably not.
We've done enough stupid stories for this episode.
Probably not.
Yeah. So, I've been a bourbon drinker my whole life, and part of another component of hanging out with you is, is truly kind of maybe my starting point to realizing that younger whiskey can be very good. Because, I've always been a bourbon drinker, and literally, in college, I was the one guy who was drinking bourbon. All my friends were drinking beer. I drank bourbon, and I just was conditioned, though, to think that good bourbon has to be 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 years old. And, as we start tasting the stuff that you've got, it's like, wait a minute, that's 13 months old. That's pretty darn good. And then you get some other stuff as you continue to get better and better. It's like you get something that's 18 months old. It's like, that's every bit as good as anything you can find on the shelf. So how do you do it? What are some of the secrets to making such great whiskey that is younger than we typically find?
Obviously, this is something I get asked all the time. We ask this by, customers that come in the distillery almost daily. It's kind of funny because when you talk to a lot of the bigger distilleries, they always say that to them, the distillation really doesn't matter. They always focus on, 60% of the flavor comes from the barrel, or maybe some of them say even more than that, up to 80% of the flavor of it comes from the barrel. To me, and especially as now we're starting to get into some of the stuff that's 4 and 4.5 years old and the 53s. And I'm really starting and I taste other people's distillate that's coming off of pot stills. To me, it's really all about the distillation. The cleaner the cut and the better the cut that's made off the still, the better the product is at a younger age.
Right.
You can ferment it as well as you want. You can sweet mash. You can enter it low barrel entry proof. You can have spectacular barrels. They can be toasted the right way. You can do all the stuff you want to. But if the distillate comes off hot, it's going to be hot for 4, 5, 6 years. It takes that long for the angel share and the aging process, the maturation process of entering through the oak and coming back out through the activated carbon filter and in and out, and then the esterification that occurs. It takes time for that to happen, and that's why column distilled product normally gets smoother over time. But to me, if you taste a lot of good pot distilled products out there, like I have, most of them are really smooth right off the still.
Yeah.
So I think you have to make a great bourbon, you have to hit on every single aspect. You can't miss anywhere. If the water quality is off, it's going to make a bad product. If the filters have dead bacteria inside of them, it's going to make a bad product. You have to be right the entire way through. And I think that's what makes it so challenging and really so difficult to make a great product. But to me, the biggest thing that stands out to make a great whiskey that is sub 4 years old, the distillation must be on point.
Yeah. Tell us an update where we're at with the Mountain Distillery, the second distillery that you'll be opening up.
So I was down there again last night. I got back like 10, 11 o'clock here. I got my cameras and everything set up so I can sit here and look at the place from in my underwear on the, whatever you want to call that makeshift couch thing I've got going on over there.
Yeah.
But
we've all seen you in your underwear, by the way, on this.
I know Tim
Famously, during one of his events, he went strolling by and his Becca was on, and he would go strolling by in his underwear in the background. It was so great.
We didn't have to bring this. We didn't have to bring that up, but I guess that's payback for my intervention comment earlier. So,
yes. You're at your house. You weren't really doing anything wrong, and you were in your underwear, which is, not pleasant, but it could be worse. Could be worse.
She knew I was back there. I thought she had it on. Watch.
Oh, here she goes.
I knew she was on it, but for God's sake, she ain't speaking. She ain't blabbing away. I thought she had.
Oh no, Molly Wellman's just talking away, and there's Royce just strolling by in his underwear.
Hey,
Molly.
It is what it is. Let me tell you something. We got a bunch of windows in here. If you stroll through Sparta at any given time, you can see some things you don't want to see.
Perfect. So the Mountain Distillery, when's that getting ready to open up, man? What do we got?
I know I keep throwing out dates and then I end up having to push them back, but we really did get pushed back pretty severely with that flood. And I didn't know at the time how much it was going to impact us because we didn't get flooded out. It didn't get up into the building. It didn't damage anything, but it's further messed up the supply chain down in the mountains even more than the supply chain was already messed up.
Right.
So getting extra help and things like that was a major problem. My dad's had to take his crew down there from up here down to the distillery to pretty much finish everything up, which is fine. We're close. The insulation's done, all the wiring's done, all the plumbing's done. We've got the where the still is going to set it, all that's tiled now. I got the security cameras set up and they're finishing out the walls. So I'm going to say we'll have the thing done probably the next month and a half. I don't know if I'm probably going to hold on the grand opening until March.
Yeah.
What we're thinking. That way we'll probably go on and tentatively open the place up and let Matthew get settled in down there in December and early January and start working out some of the kinks and, seeing how things go. Because I think that as soon as we open the doors up, it's going to be pretty wild down there. Like if I get on my phone right now and pull the cameras up, my parking lot's completely full right now. I can guarantee you don't even have to, I bet you $1,000 on it. That parking lot's completely full. It was full last night till like 11:30. So I think as soon as we open everything up, it's going to be trying to maintain down there. It's going to be the biggest thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit different than up here. I had some time to work through this distillery. We started off slower and we grew and we grew into it. This one down here, I think we're going to kind of start off with a bam.
Yeah, you open the door, it's the Band-Aid's been ripped off and here comes everybody.
Yeah, so we're going to try to get prepped for that as much as we can.
Yeah.
I know Mom and Dad are going to be down there. I think they're actually going to stay down there maybe the first couple months with Matt.
That's a good idea. That's cool.
So that's going to help. And
Very helpful. Yeah.
Last thing, the thing I want, and I've talked to Matt about it, the last thing I want to do is get him down there and him become overwhelmed, stressed out, and get burned out too quick. We don't want that to happen.
Yeah. So bourbon's hot right now. It's continued to stay at the top. It's not going anywhere. Anybody who says bourbon's dying or bourbon's broken, I saw posted on there. It's not. It's doing just fine. But you have had this little bit of shift where you've been working on absinthe, and you got this cool old still that's going to be installed pretty soon. Sounds like they're making some of the last pieces on it. Which means we're going. How's this going to reshape your business? How's absinthe going to play a role in a Neeley Family Distillery moving ahead?
It's been a crazy thing. We've got, I think, 3 cases left of the 3rd batch. So I've done 3 batches of that since I launched it this year. So we're talking, we've sold around, I guess, 2,500 bottles out our front door this year of it.
Right.
I've got distributors that are asking to carry it. I've kind of been pulling the reins back on it because I really wanted to get that old still in there and make everything on that old still. I talked to the guys at Vendome, I guess that was 2 days ago. All they're waiting on. So all the flanges on that old still are some old world. I know Stump had to deal with this too. It's some old world metric flange, some thread that nobody makes anymore. So they literally have to go in there and make a 3D rendering of it in their computer and then have that taken to an AutoCAD machine and milled out is what they do with the thing, which is pretty neat. So they're working on this last flange and then we'll have the absinthe still installed. I mean, it's all about educating the consumer when they come in. People seem to be really interested in it. Some people have heard of it. Others have never heard of it at all. But when we take them through our tasting, we explain to them how to drink it, a little bit of the history behind it, the nostalgia. And we sell essentially a bottle to most everybody that comes through the place. So people really reacted well to it. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm surprised at how well it has went over out the gift shop. I thought it was going to be more of a thing that you really had to sell more than it was something that kind of sold itself.
That's very cool. So, innovation is key, a big part of staying relevant in this business. What are some of the things that you're working on that, we may see down the road?
Yeah. I'm always playing around with different things. We've got here on my wall, this was actually worked on by Tony Minchella. We've got an aquavit over here that Tony's put together that I'm going to continue here playing around with and probably going to mess around with running. I've never made one before, but I think it's going to be something cool him and I can work on. He've even actually thought about doing it, as Tony calls it, an aquavicent. So it's taking a lot of the botanicals from an aquavit and then the botanicals that we really like from an absinthe and combining the two together to make really a whole different type of spirit that I thought would be something that might be pretty neat. And then we're going to try that as a clear spirit and then also as an aged spirit. We've got an apple brandy that we're aging out there now. I've got a whole different slew of rye whiskeys that we made that are approaching 2 years old. I'll be honest with you, Akley, I've got so much different stuff out there. Sometimes I don't even remember all of it that I've got. I'll walk through the rick house and be like, oh yeah, I forgot we made 100% wheat whiskey 2 years ago. So it's been really cool to taste all that stuff and see how it's maturing and changing. But the next big thing that I'm going to focus on is going to be finishing up that rum. So Lenny's been kicking the hell out of me and Stump. Obviously Stump's been down. But I'd like to get that dunder pit working inside of the boiler room and start playing around with that pot distilled Jamaican rum. And I really want to not only do it to do the stuff with Lenny and everything for what we're going to be doing down in Key West, but I do all the work for Rolling Fork Rum. And I like their Fortuitous Union. and they've had a lot of success with the Jamaican pot still. And I love that Jamaican pot still that they get in. Well, they want to try to kind of replicate that here at our distillery as well, and just see kind of what we can come up with, and then take rye whiskey that I've made and blend the two together to make a Kentucky fortuitous union, which would be.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. So, we found that our group loves using your place as a home base, and we've even got an event coming up on Saturday. So this comes out to the general public on Friday. So the next day, Saturday, we've got an event there. If you can make it, I'll be signing my books from 1 to 4 at the distillery, and I'm bringing some bourbon celebrities with me. Lenny's coming there, so all the way from Buena Vista, Colorado, is coming in. Look at that. There it is. There's the book right there. That's the one you need to get. So. Oh, there's another copy right there. There's another one. There's another one. I like it. I love it, man. Yeah, we had an event where everyone was holding them up and stuff like that. But, so we love doing events there, and we're going to have a great event on Saturday. McNew's coming in. McNew will be there signing books. So because it's about bourbon celebrities and getting them to sign your book, so I'm bringing some celebrities with. I'm good. You can rack up some points. Bo Cumberland's going to be there. So it's not a bad deal, but we like doing the events at your place. 2022, we're going to do some more of this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm always down. So I enjoy having you guys over and hanging out with everybody. And I know Becca enjoys it as well. So yeah, absolutely. I have absolutely no plans to change any of that. As long as people want to keep hanging out with us.
Oh yeah, I think so. We've got a big group coming in. I just know from listeners and things like that are going to be coming in. So most of them got the books ready, but need to get it signed. So it's a great opportunity to do so. So we appreciate you guys hosting that. So, this next one, and it's true. When I met you, if I had to make a list of and rank the distilleries, of course, all the heritage brands are going to be, the top 8 are going to be the big ones that we know. And then I had to start going through. There were so many that were ahead of you in terms of, because they were in business longer, they're ahead on the whiskey, but they're also way ahead on social media and so many things. And then I look today and I'm like, where's Royce today? And I'm like, well, you still got the heritage brands. They've got so much money. They're always going to stay ahead. But I think you're right in that next group. I mean, you might be at the top of all of them, or you're with, like I don't know, New Riff, that you don't really have any true, you've passed them all up, man. It's like, holy cow. And I don't want to say any names. I mean, I could give the names, but I'm not going to give the names, but it's just been amazing to see what you've been able to accomplish in really a relatively short amount of time.
Well, that's for one, a very humbling thing to say. And I greatly appreciate that. I'm probably our biggest critic myself, and we've got a long way still to go. But I appreciate that. It's been a long, I know you say it seems pretty quick, and I guess it really has, but to me, it feels like it's been a long time. So, it's running a distillery and growing a business and everything that we're doing is, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of long nights, and, it's stressful, but I've got a good team around me. I've got a good supportive family. That makes a big deal and a huge difference. And I'm lucky to have fans and people that I've met through the ABV Network and everybody else that have supported us. We wouldn't be anywhere if people weren't enjoying or trying to drink our whiskey, and I just greatly appreciate that. So it's, when I first met you, Akley, I was fermenting in plastic totes. So it's kind of crazy to, and I want to go medal off of those totes, by the way, but it's a humbling thing, and it's, I'm very lucky, and I definitely never forget where I came from. I can tell you that. I think about it pretty often. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's still astonishing to me sometimes to walk out there. I never thought I'd have a rick house. It's crazy to me to think that I'm about to build a second one.
Right. Yeah, it's just a testament. You go in there on a Saturday and that place is crazy, hopping. There's people everywhere, and it's, and you're adding to their enjoyment. This is what's the greatest thing about what you're doing for them is they're spending their discretionary income that they want to have fun and enjoy life. And you're giving them that. And it's a cool thing, man. Owning a distillery is awesome. At its best, it's pretty darn awesome. So a lot of headaches in there. I get that, but what you do is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, I'm very lucky to be a part of it. I'm living my dream that I wanted to do. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Burnout is definitely a real thing. Don't get me wrong. It can be, it can get to you, and it is hard sometimes to stay on track with everything. But especially when you're always, like you said, it's an industry where you're always trying to innovate and continue to grow and come out with new products. along with trying to maintain and grow what you're doing on the other side of it with running the gift shop. And now I've got, instead of having one employee that I thought it was crazy when I hired to have just one, now I've got 15 of them running around. There's a culture at that distillery now, and it's funny to me. It's frustrating and it's awesome all at the same time, right? Because you always hear about it. Like when I worked at that little corporate job I had, it was culture this and culture that. I never thought of it. Well, it's funny to see it now.
Right.
So, and it definitely matters. I mean, it really does.
Yeah. All right. Last question. And this one is a funny one to me because for years, since I've known you, been telling you, you got to watch The Sopranos. Because I was surprised one time when you told me you didn't watch it. So I was like, you got to watch that. You got to watch that. You never did. You wouldn't watch it for one reason or another. I don't know why. But then you finally did, and now you're hooked. Now you're like the super Sopranos fan, and it's amazing. Here it is, been off the air for 15 years or whatever, and you're like the world's biggest Sopranos fan. So what do you think about that show? Why does it hit home for you?
Why does it hit home for me?
Yeah, why do you like that?
Hell, the first episode's one of the best parts when he's driving through there just laughing as he's about to run the guy over with the car.
Right.
If you haven't ever thought about doing that before, if you haven't had one of them days, I don't even want to be around you, to be honest with you. I mean,
right.
If you haven't had that day where you feel like just running somebody over with that car and laughing while you're doing it, that's Tony Soprano. I can relate to that. Now, I've never run anybody over with a car, but I can kind of relate to it. And then I don't know, man. It's his grappling back and forth with dealing with the pressures of his life and the stress that he undergoes while trying to maintain the things he's doing and then talking it over with the therapist. It's some of the same stuff I go over in my head sometimes, it's grappling with this and, how am I dealing with that? And I don't know. I kind of resonated with it. I like the part where he says, what is it? My Uncle Junior's a great cause of my stress.
Mm-hmm. You can insert who's ever bugging you that day into that role, right?
Yeah, but what I really liked about it was the intervention, because it made me think of your opinion. I was like, this is perfect. That's when I really fell in love with the show. I was like, man, this is how Akley's intervention would be.
We've watched that scene, I don't know how many times, and we'll watch it again. I'm getting ready to come up there. I'll be there tomorrow. I'm sure we'll be watching that scene again. It's so great.
I did. I don't know if anybody else on here is a Sopranos fan or not. I did like at first I didn't really care too much for the first time watching of the movie they come out with. The second time through, I loved it after I really started to pay more attention to it and everything.
I've just been such a fan for a long time. I think I was just a little bit deeper into it. So I liked it the first time I saw it, man. I love that movie from the moment I saw it. I think it's one of the best movie since Quentin Tarantino's second to last one. I thought that the Hollywood one that he did was it was okay. It was Tarantino-esque, but his other stuff has been better. And I don't like a whole lot of movies because I always feel like I could write them myself. I can't write Tarantino stuff. He's too good, but this was fantastic.
Yeah. I've watched a lot of series, but it's gotta be the character development through it and the way that they can portray a mobster who's an obvious sociopath like Tony, but almost make you feel sorry for him sometimes throughout the show is phenomenal. I mean, it's the best writing that you can ever do. And great acting as well, but I mean, phenomenal writing for the fact that they can take somebody who's having an affair on his wife and almost make you feel bad for the guy. And then you take a step back and you're like, oh, hold on a second. This guy's a mobster, for God's sakes. He's a sociopath. He only cares about himself. It's just interesting, the character arcs and the way that they work.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird because as intense as that show is, and believe me, it's intense. Sometimes there's some episodes that are hard to watch. You think about Ralphie and the stripper and all that. It's like that it's disgusting, really. But then it's also, if you had to rank the funniest shows that you ever watched, Sopranos is right up there too. You don't think of it as a comedy, but there's some funny stuff that happens in that show. I mean, it's amazing. So, well, there you go, buddy. Well, I hope you can stick around. You can stick around and hang out with us, and of course, we always like to have a little Q&A at the end. So you mind sticking around and hanging out with us?
Good.
All right, let's hear it for Royce Neeley, folks. Hey-oh, Mr.
Thank you,
Royce.
guys.
Mr. Royce. We'll catch up with you at the end too. Have you share all your websites and all that kind of stuff. We like to do that at the end. All right, McNew, let's take this thing out to break.
Yep. Today's show is sponsored by Moonshine University. Moonshine University offers programs to assist individuals in the bourbon industry or simply fans wanting to step up their knowledge. Whether you are looking for in-person learning at the classrooms of Moonshine University or looking for self-study online, there are options to fit your unique needs. Check them out at moonshineuniversity.com. We are also sponsored by the ABV Network's Distillers Summit in Key West, Florida. This 4-day event features events and networking opportunities from January 27th through 30th, 2022, when there's no better place to be in the world than there is in sunny Key West. Get more information on our website at abvnetwork.com.
Yeah, join us in Key West. It's going to be a great time. There's no cost to go or anything like that. In terms of a fee to attend. Now, there's your travel costs. I'm not saying you don't have costs. There's certainly that. But yeah, so you can join us. It's just a combination of industry thing. We've probably got 10 distillers that'll be joining us. Some of the biggest names in the world of bourbon, including Royce Neeley here. And you know, we just hang out and have fun. And there's fans and there's the staff from the ABV Network. So it's a cool thing. I'm at the part right now that I don't like. I'm finalizing the agenda. And again, the agenda is very loose. You have the opportunity to do things with us or not. You can make this trip to be whatever you want it to be. But there's two things I'm working on is a dinner in the middle of the event. And then the last day is going to be a breakfast. We're going to do a breakfast this year because most people leave on Sunday. And even those that stay over till Monday, it'll be nice to get the group together one last time.
Yeah, I think that breakfast would be a nice send off for everybody because we usually head to the airport on Sundays.
The dinner is going to be fantastic. There's a new place called the Absinthe House. It's owned by our friend Jim Martin, who owns Key West Smuggler, so owns the whiskey brand. But he's got a place where we're gonna do pre-dinner. We're gonna do like absinthe fountains and all that kind of stuff and absinthe tasting. Royce Neeley stuff will be there, as well as a lot of different. They're trying to carry every absinthe brand from the United States, so there'll be a lot of different things you can try. And then there'll be a really nice sit-down dinner, and then afterwards it'll be bourbon tasting. So we'll have our distilleries friends. Anybody wants to bring any bourbon or stuff like that, just a private exclusive tasting where all of our distillers that are there can ship their bourbon right to Jim. He's got a license where he can accept bourbon in because he's also tied into a distributor, which is kind of cool. So yeah, we'll be pouring unique things for our distillery buddies. So that's gonna be a great dinner. That's gonna be Friday night. So those are the two things I'm stuck on. Once I get that all worked, it's tough because the caterers want to know how many people you're having. I'm like, well, I don't know how many people I have until I get like the cost. Well, we can't give you a cost. We know how many people you have, sir. So, I'm like, oh, this is how many I think we've got. And then, that'll come to the dinner. And, it's a whole dance that you got to do. And then, I hope.
Give me an estimate for 10 and give me an estimate for 50. Let's figure that out.
We have no idea. So I'm going to get some pricing and then I'm going to throw it out there and everybody wants, we can book it. And then we'll give them that final count. But yeah, we're close. We're close. So very cool. All right. Well, welcome back. It is now time to guest number 2, Mr. Brad Bonds. He has managed to get his hands dirty for his job. And I say dusty because he's out there hunting dusties, making some really cool things for us to then come in and taste and buy. He's got a great store. And ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Brad Bonds. Hey, Brad, how you doing, man?
Hello.
So,
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about Revival. You're there now. That's in the background. You're at the store right now, aren't you?
Yeah, yes, sir. And thanks again for putting us in the book. Seriously, appreciate it. So, just waiting for some people to come in with this, and we'll get them some points. So
absolutely, you can get 16 points at your place because we've got a deal in there. If you buy a Dusty, I think you get 10 points, which is a lot in the book. I mean, yours is one of the higher places you can go to get a bunch of points.
Heck, to get a bottle from 1990 or older, you don't have to spend a ton. We had a ton of Jim Beam for around $100. So
yeah,
I think Royce got a car the last time he was in.
Yeah, he would have been eligible. Now, don't give him credit for those points, though, because he bought that before he had the book. So you have to own the book first, then the points start.
We have plenty more cars for you, Royce.
Okay, so. Yeah, Royce got a Corvette, right? It was a Corvette that you got.
Yeah. Darn, I guess I have to come back up there and buy something else.
Yeah. Yeah. He definitely loves Corvettes, so you can't go wrong with that. So, Brad, just a question for you. We always like to do just a casual one as we get into this. And, tell me about when you go on vacation, because you're in the industry where you track down old bourbon and that. Do you go to like all the liquor stores and things like that when you're somewhere? And if so, is your family cool with that?
Yeah, I mean, I want to see what's going on in the different places, I guess. I haven't really got to take a trip lately. So still pushing forward with this business, but but yeah, I mean, if I'm in another area, I want to pop into a distillery or, liquor store and just, see what another state's doing or what somebody else is doing in the state I'm in. So there's a lot of interesting things going on.
Yeah. So you were a dusty hunter long before, this has been a career for you. So tell us about the early days of dusty hunting.
Yeah, really just meeting people in the community, just like you. Before the law even changed, it was just a complete hobby for myself, and I basically took a hobby, of just having friends over and new acquaintances, and made a business of it. So, if you can do what you love, you don't work a day in your life. And I'm literally living the dream every day. So.
Yeah, very cool. So in 2018, the big thing that ends up being a career shift in your life is Kentucky enacts that law allowing licensed retailers, whether it's a liquor store or a bar, the ability to buy things that they don't have access from a distributor. And you went to work right away. Is that when you opened up the store? We'll get to that in just a second. But you went to work for Cork and Bottle, and tell us a little bit about what you did for them.
Yeah, Ed Bly brought me on, and it's funny how things go full circle. I actually hired his son Anthony at my shop, but Ed gave me a chance, to take my passion and legally do it. And so I wanted to maybe get an investor and kind of do what I'm doing now immediately, but it just made more sense. I hopped right in with them. They had the license, they had the brick and mortar. I got a year or so under my belt with them. It was a great time, and then I felt like it was just time to do it kind of on my own. And so now Shannon Smith and I are trying to take it to the next level. So.
Yeah. You seem to be doing good things, and, you're active on social media. I think that's important. It seems like every day I'm seeing multiple posts from you, things that are going on at the store. This is what you're pouring. So it seems like, Revival is just at the top of my thoughts, because I see it all the time.
Yeah. I'm just trying to be reasonable with my pricing and not get away from that. I've before COVID, traveled to a lot of cool places, in the United States and Vegas and Chicago and New York. And I feel like with where we're at and, just being in Northern Kentucky, we can offer these things that these swanky bars have for, 600 an ounce for $35 for a taste, and it's really neat to be able to do that. And, I guess the day that I can't do that is probably when I just, I don't do this anymore. But for now, I'm going to bring the best stuff I can to the public to taste every single day. So for a great deal.
So walk us through this process. So you're working for Cork and Bottle. You want to do this yourself. What do you have to go through then to get yourself into the business that you are now at Revival?
That's a good question. I kind of made a position for myself, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know the answer to that. I was just super passionate about it. Just when you taste, stuff like this from the 50s or whatever, it's tough to drink any of the newer stuff. Now, I love what Royce is doing. I think the future of distilling is really with the craft distilling people. The major distilleries now, everything's being rushed, and I don't know, if you do a side by side with Old Granddad from today versus from back in the day, it's completely different. Obviously, it's owned by national distillers back then, but I just think people are kind of cutting corners, and it's fresh. It's awesome fresh to see somebody like Royce not cutting those corners and really bringing out like a killer product. So
yeah, I do think that's the big difference, because it just makes so much sense for the big guys to cut corners where they can, because, a little bit of savings here and there based on their volume is huge. Whereas Royce is like, does that really make that much difference if I use this grain versus this one? Or, so yeah, it really works out well. And we're getting the benefit of that as bourbon fans, which is cool.
No, it is. There's tons of options, I think, right now. And, there isn't a right or wrong thing. It's whatever you like to drink, go drink it. I gravitate towards the vintage whiskey. I just, my palate likes the, 100 proof and the 90 proofs and stuff. And some of these spirits that are out now just blow my socks off, I guess, with the hazmats and that kind of thing. That just wasn't a thing back in the day, so it's, I don't know, it's, and what I'm doing is kind of like treasure hunting, it's, we're finding little time capsules that didn't exist. So it's fun to just unearth those and share them with people that like it.
Yeah. It's a rare instance, and it sounds hokey, but it's true. You can taste history. It's one of the few things. I mean, even wine, it has an expiration date. It's not going to be great forever. It's going to be vinegar at some point.
And it's
Whereas
funny you mentioned that. I think the common misconception with the older generation, somebody 65 to 100 years old, they think that their spirits, their bourbon, their whatever is bad. And they think that they should keep aging this wine that they should have drank when they were my age.
Right.
And it's really funny to see, man. It's unbelievable. So yeah, I just want to, put it out there to anybody that's listening to, give us a call. We'd love an opportunity, any kind of collection you have, or if you have any friends or family. I try to treat, people like my mom or my dad. We're not trying to get over on, little old ladies or anything like that. So it's fun for me to, make those relationships, and hell, that's where we're not even paying for advertising right now. It's all word by mouth of buying and selling. And so it's a lot of fun, man. I'm literally, like I told you right when we started, I'm living the dream. So
there's definitely can be something to be said for that, because if you're trying to sell an elderly family members, old whiskey that they don't want anymore, it is easy to be taken advantage of. And if you turn to the internet, you have the high potential to have problems.
That's why I have a website. Like I just send them a link, and it's like, it kind of goes against me almost, but we try to be transparent with people, and that's what's bringing more bottles in here every day. Literally every day, I have the most liquor of my life.
That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing, I guess. So, you get into the business of selling Dusties. You're a collector before that. Are your collecting days then automatically done? Everything's done in the business, and you don't really need
I
to
still
have
like
a
to
person?
collect myself. I mean, late with getting Revival kicked off, definitely not right this second. Everything's going into this business, but I think there will come a time again where, I can start building my collection up. And, right now it's pumping up a business. It hadn't even been here for 15 months. So you can't take from something that you got to keep going. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's the craziest deal that you ever landed?
It's funny you ask. Everything but the house, local estate sale company, they only take bourbon deals they only take deals from people's houses that are 10 grand or more. And they went into somebody's house like 5 or 6 years ago and told these people that they didn't have 10 grand in stuff. And I got invited to the house, and they had probably $40,000 or $50,000 just in bourbon. So it's funny, these estate sale companies out there, and different people, another man's trash is another's treasure, and it couldn't be more clear with what I'm doing. So
yeah, that's pretty wild. So what's the coolest thing that's happened to you from being in the business that you are right now?
Man,
being on the show?
On the show? I guess just being a business owner and making my own schedule. And, right now I'm technically only working 3 days a week in the store. So not many people can say they work 3 days a week, but I mean, I'm constantly doing something for this, to push us forward, but it's really a lot of fun. Like at the end of the day, I don't dread ever coming here. I actually really look forward to being here. And the people that come in here are basically my friends, and constantly meeting new people. And it's really fun to show this place off. And I have a blast every day just doing what I do.
Okay. So what's the ultimate Dusty? What's the one that you would love to see come in the door?
I'll show you. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
It's funny you ask, man. So
he's got it nearby.
So my buddy brought this in the other day, and he's like, Brad, I saved you a little sample of this right here. Okay. So it says it's a 7-year, and it's like, you can't really see, but it says 90 proof somewhere on here. But on the back, I don't know if you guys can see this, and it's probably in reverse, but it's the 2 millionth barrel. It was barreled in 1953 and bottled in 1966 at 124 proof.
Wow.
So I've seen this before, like a Buffalo Trace behind the glass or whatever, but this isn't on Revival's bar or anything. This was just a friend gifted this little sip to me, that was left. We actually drank most of this bottle like 5 or 6 years ago. We had it too good. So,
oh, that's crazy. Yeah, that's really cool. So say that thing was sealed, no one had ever opened it up. What would something like that be worth?
Man,
yeah,
I have no idea. Bourbon's stupid right now. Like pricing is freaking crazy. I mean, I guess I don't think I'd be able to find another one, so we could start at 50K and maybe go up. I don't.
Go up, yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, where do you get a 13-year stag from 1966 at 124 proof? So
I mean, I've got
that
two
bottle
of them
really
here.
doesn't
I've got
exist.
two, but no, I don't have that. Never even seen that before. So that's cool.
So yeah, we can
yeah.
split this sip up for like 500 a piece. So no,
Nice.
I'm messing.
So you get to try a lot of old products. What are stand out as some of your favorites? You know, you deal in all of them, but what are some that you're like, man, I like these?
We have some really cool stuff open right now. I opened a rum from the West Indies from the 30s or 40s. It's some of the best rum I've ever had in my life. I'd like for Royce to even come, try this just to maybe give you some ideas on, future things you can do. We opened a chartreuse from the 50s recently. I'm kind of looking down my little alleyway right here on the bar, but lots
You
of
don't
fun
have to twist
stuff.
my arm, Brad.
Right. And it's a lot of fun stuff. I try to keep it interesting. It's bourbon focused here. I'd say we have 90% of our bottles are bourbon, but there's 10% of, a cool tequila, some rum, some gin, scotch, just all types of different things. But I'd say lately the chartreuse I opened up's amazing. It reminds me of Christmas. It's from the 50s. I'd love for you to taste that, man. And then heck, I have another chartreuse from the 30s or 40s. I still need to open it up. Maybe we open it up when you come to the shop.
Yeah.
But it's from Spain, I believe, from the 30s or 40s. So, we might see some little fairies or something. So
cool.
Hey, Brad. Matt Bailey was up here at our house working on some of the glass and stuff for the bathroom.
He and his wife are awesome. Such good people.
But he was telling me you have a really old absinthe there also, don't you?
Yeah. I'll grab it and show it to you.
All right. Grabbing some absinthe. McNew, this is where your comedy routine comes in.
No, I think you should get Brad more often. We're getting like show and tell. I love it.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So it's actually on our website right now for like $1,300. Somebody could go snipe it tonight if they want.
There you go.
But yeah, I'd love to open it with you, man. And heck, with us having that chartreuse open right now, that'd be really cool to share with you these super old expressions that, even somebody like me, it's tough to find,
Right.
So.
Yeah. So give us an idea of what it's like to visit. So if coming to the store, tell us what it's like, because we've got an army of people that's got those books tucked under their arms. They're going to be coming in. So they're buying them right now. They'll be heading that way. Probably we'll see a lot of that in the spring, I would think. But you always get some travelers.
Anthony and I try to do like a taste of the day. So today, for instance, it wasn't super old, but I didn't have an Elmer open on the bar. So I opened a 2016 Elmer. We have a 2-ounce liquor license. I break it down into 4 half-ounce tastes. So I did Elmer for a half-ounce from 16 for $10 today. My most expensive thing, I opened a 1978 Old Fitz 101 proof 10-year the other day. I'm doing that for 50 a half-ounce, so basically 100 an ounce. I'm selling the full bottle over here for $2,500, or you can taste it for basically the same amount, if not cheaper, because some evaporated. But we're trying to be aggressive. My cheapest things, Jim Beam, every day from the 70s for $5. I have probably 6 or 7 other things that are $5. And then there's a whole row of things that are 10, 15, 20, 25, and then a slew of stuff that's like 35. But, nothing here is over $100 an ounce. And most of it is, 50 an ounce or less. So just trying to be, really fair with what I'm giving. And most of the stuff you could probably find in, like some of it in Jack Rose or some of it, I don't know, in another place, the Milk Room in Chicago or whatever. But we're literally doing it for 1/5 of the cost of what they are. So you can come here and you could stay the night at, Hotel Covington at 5-star hotel and drink at Revival and live high on the hog and stay in Kentucky without having to go to these major cities and taste stuff that's super rare. So
yeah. And you're not too far from Molly Wellman's place, right? So
Molly's amazing. Molly's a treasure for Cincinnati. So
she is, right?
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Absolutely awesome.
We got to have McNew work on the list of the best celebrities in the U.S. because she likes like Dolly Parton and there's a couple other ones.
I love Dolly.
I think Molly is on that list of just
Molly and Dolly right up there together. Fantastic human beings, absolutely.
Yeah. So we need to start working on that. What's the official list of the world's greatest celebrities? So Brad, because you're involved in this, you got your finger on the pulse of, you know, the worth of whiskey and stuff like that, but it focuses on the old stuff. Is there anything today's buyers should be putting away that down the road, when they come into revival 20 years from now, you're going to be like, man, I'm glad you kept that bottle? What would be some of those things?
Whatever, that's a really good question. Whatever other people are not collecting, collect that.
Mm-hmm. Collect that.
And what they say is a collector's bottle isn't.
Right. If it's meant to be like a collector's bottle, no, because then everyone saves it. They don't drink it then, right?
I mean, I kind of look at my shop as baseball cards, and these old bottles, you know, if bourbon becomes not as popular, these old bottles will still have a value, just like Mickey Mantle rookie cards are hot right now, but if they become not hot, you know, your Babe Ruths and your Mickey Mantles will always have value.
Yeah.
You know, you can't, as far as new stuff, I guess you can't go wrong with, you know, Pappy Van Winkle or heck, Blanton's, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, it's tough to see what the future is going to be. I mean, will people be drinking in 20 years? Like, you know, who knows, like where we're going into. I see these old bottles as little time capsules. And if you want to visit the past, you know, what a better way to do it than with a bottle of liquor from 100 years ago. So.
Yeah. Here's my tip of the night. Buy some of this guy's stuff that's on the event with us. Again, very early in his career. He's going to be doing this a long time, and you'll be glad you've got some of that stuff put away. So yeah. And I wish I drank all my stuff. I had some of the cool gift shop ones like Marshmallow Black Belt, things that started. I drank all that stuff. Damn it. I should have kept that. It's going to be worth some money, but that's also the fun of it too. I had fun while I was drinking it. So very cool.
Yeah. That's the hardest part, just not drinking it. And then keeping it, and then, you know, it's really crazy that some of these things have survived all this time, you know, and Uncle Louie didn't come home at Christmas and start chugging or whatever.
Right.
So it's a lot of fun, man, just unearthing all these things. So
yeah. So Brad, last question for you. We've talked a lot about old bourbon. What would be some of the new brands that you enjoy drinking when you are, you know, at a bar or something like that, and it doesn't have the ability to get a dusty?
I'm always interested to try something new. Like I need to come down and try Royce's stuff, to be quite honest. You know, but
you got your book, you can get some points.
I need to bring it with me. So the one bourbon I think of that really stands out to me is, and it's super expensive right now, but King of Kentucky was super tasty. It reminds me of a dusty. Also, Bill McBrayer just had his McBrayer distillate come out from Wilderness Trail, helped them, and they used like a blood orange or I think a bloody butcher corn or something like that, or blood orange, and it just had like a dusty funk, kind of like a National Distillers to it. So I gravitate towards, you know, something that has a vintage taste. So
right, yeah, makes sense. Well, Brad, thanks so much. Let's hear it for Mr. Brad Bonds, gang. Great job.
Really appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely. Brad, anything you want to share, websites, social media, anything like that that help people get to your place?
Follow us on, you know, Facebook, Revival Vintage Spirits, also Instagram. My labor of love is revivalky.com. We're in high definition. Anthony is putting up the magic every day. We're being transparent about our bottles. Typically all of them have a price. There's a few that say $1 million on there, but that's just because Square sucks and I can't put call for a price. So just give us a call if you have a question. But yeah, if anybody wants a value on a bottle, give me a call. We want to buy it. If you want to buy something, I want to sell it.
Okay. If you ever get a sale for that $1 million one from Andrew Webrink, he was just probably had too much to drink that night. So he does a little shopping when he gets drunk. So just void that, because he's not gonna he's gonna ask his credit card company for a refund. Royce, how about you, man? Where can people find you?
Find me on Facebook and Instagram at Neeley Family Distillery or NeeleyFamilyDistillery.com.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to ask Webrink some of the stuff he has bought while drinking. And it's crazy stuff like a parachute and a limo. And he thought he'd have Bronner be set up as his limo drive. That's the greatest idea I've ever heard. He buys a limo and he's going to have Jason Bronner as his driver.
That is not the man you want driving your limo. You want him in the back partying with you for sure,
right,
but you're
right,
gonna
yeah.
get a driver.
Bronner is your driver. Yeah, that didn't work out. He had to get a refund on the limo. So he's never been skydiving. Who buys a parachute that's never been skydiving?
With the
something
smiley-
seemed like a good idea at the
It had a
moment.
smiley face
It
on
had
it.
a
yeah.
smiley face on it.
I would be sold on the smiley face because how cool is that going to look coming down from the sky? Like
Oh,
you're drunk shopping. It sounds like a great idea.
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
McNew, how about you? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at McNew ABV.
All right. For me, I'm an easy guy to find. I'm at Steve Akley on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveakley.com. We've also got that company website, abvnetwork.com. Check it out because everything that we do is out there. Previous shows, blogs. We've got our shop out there. We've got my book out there. So much more, abvnetwork.com. McNew, anything else to say before we get out of here?
I would like to remind the audience to please hit that subscribe button for Bourbon Sasquatch on YouTube, where all of our shows will be posted. And when you're watching an episode, please give us a thumbs up, leave some comments, and share it. It helps new people find the show, which is very important to us. And next week, we have Barry Brenniger of William Tarr Distillery and Colin Blake of Moonshine University.
Yes, we do. Looking forward to that. Let's hear it one last time for our guests tonight. They did a great job, provided a great show. We had fun.
Buddy,
We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
bye.